Math Padawans, it's Mrs. Angel with today's lesson on Intro to Integer Expressions, Start and Change. Now, today's lesson may seem pretty simple, but I encourage you to keep an open mind and open ears and listen to the vocabulary that we use, because that is probably the most important part about working with integer expressions. Okay, so notice here where it says classifying integer expressions. So to classify means to put into a category. So what we're doing is we're taking these integer expressions, these number sentences with these numbers, and we're going to either put them into the category of sum or difference. So if it is a sum, that means that the expression contains addition. Or it's a lot easier to think of it as we say the word plus. If you are saying the word plus, or you see this symbol here, which I will highlight for you, when you see that symbol there, you are reading an expression that is a sum. In a difference, you are reading an expression that contains subtraction. Or in other words, you are saying the word minus, and you're looking for that symbol right there. Now, the hard part with a difference is that that symbol that I drew is used also to represent negative. So we have to be a little bit careful with that. So let's go ahead and look at numbers 1 and 2, and then you'll do the other ones on your own. So reading number 1, if I just read it out loud, because again, I'm trying to classify it as a sum or a difference, if I read it out loud, number 1 would read 4 plus 10. So again, because I'm saying the word plus, we would classify this expression as a sum. It goes into the sum category. Let's read number 2. Number 2 reads 6 minus 5. So because I am saying the word minus, 6 minus 5 would go into the difference category. So it's all about what are you saying when you read it out. Sum is you're saying plus, and difference you're saying minus. Go ahead and try 3 through 8 on your own. Great. So it's pretty simple. If you say plus, that categorizes it as a sum, and if you say minus, that's a difference. Let's move on here to the bottom of this page and wrap up these notes. So if we read the directions here, it says to diagram sums and differences. Now, to diagram means we're actually going to do this math on the number line. We're actually going to make a picture of what these expressions represent. Now, there are 3 parts to a diagram. There is the starting value, there is the change, and then there's where you end up. And where you end up is called the value of the expression. I'm just going to kind of squeeze that one in there. So let's talk about these. So the starting value is the first number in the expression. So it's whatever you're reading first. So let's take a look here at example 1. What number do you say first when you read example 1? Example 1 is negative 10 minus 2. Notice how I said negative 10 first. That means that's our starting value. And that's the first number I'm going to find on the number line. And I like to put just a big line on negative 10 to show that is where my journey starts. The second part of every expression is called the change. And the change is basically what's happening to your starting value, because you're not going to start at negative 10, subtract 2, and end back at negative 10. That's not going to work. You're going to end somewhere else. Now, the change has both a direction. You're either going to go right or left, and it has a distance. You're going to travel a certain number of places, almost like a board game. You're going to be moving in some direction. So my change here would read minus 2. That is my change, and it gives me information. If I'm minus 2, I'm subtracting positive 2. That means I'm taking away positive value. And to take away positive value means my answer is going to become more negative. So I'm moving to the left 2 in this expression. So starting at negative 10, I'm moving to the left 1 and 2. And that brings us to the final part of our diagram, which is where we ended up. We ended up at negative 12. I'm going to put a box around it because that shows that that's where I ended up. and that is called the value of the expression. So in other words, what is negative 10 minus 2? That's negative 12. Let's take a look at example 2. So example 2, what's the first number that we read in the expression? We read the number negative 5. So that is our starting value. Let's find negative 5. There it is on the number line. The change is what's going to happen in negative 5. I'm either going to move to the right or I'm going to move to the left. So it looks like here the change is plus 12, and I'm adding positive 12, which means my value is going to become more positive, and I'm headed in the right direction. So starting at negative 5, I'm going to move 12 to the right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12. And where did we end up? We ended up at, it looks like 5, 6, positive 7. So I'm going to put a box around my answer because that is the ending value of this expression. In other words, what is negative 5 plus 12? That would be positive 7. Last example here before you get to do some on your own. Example 3, 10 minus 12. So again, our starting value here is 10. So we're going to start all the way over here at positive 10. And my change is minus 12. So again, minus positive 12 means I'm taking away positive value. I'm headed in the left direction. So here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12. Notice how I went past 0 there. Where did we end up? We ended up at 0, negative 1, negative 2. So I'm going to put a box around my answer here. And that is the value of the expression. In other words, what is 10 minus 12? 10 minus 12 is negative 2. So that's called diagramming. So again, you have to show where you started, the direction that you're going and how far, in other words, the change, and where do you end up? What's the value of this expression? So let's go ahead and have you try some of these on your own. On the next page, you're going to see a table at the top. Let's just go through these directions really quick together, and then, like I said, you'll do this on your own. So instructions. First, you're going to classify the expression as a sum or a difference. So because you don't have a ton of room, if it's a sum, you can just write the letter S, and if it's a difference, you can just write the letter D. Remember, you're looking for plus or minus. The second set of directions say to identify the starting value and the change in the expression, so the actual number and the actual change. And then finally, you're going to diagram the expression on a number line to find its value. So we're really doing 4 things here. We're classifying, we're identifying the start, we're identifying the change, and we are making a diagram. So let's just do the first one together to make sure we have the idea here, and then you can do the next 3 on your own. So number 1, Roman numeral 1, 2 plus 7. Because I'm saying the word plus, this is a sum. The starting value, it appears here, is 2, because that's the first number I said, and the change is plus 7. Notice how I am writing out the actual words that I'm saying, plus 7. And to add positive 7 means I'm adding positive value, and I'm heading to the right. I like to put that in there because I like to keep in mind where I'm going. So let's diagram. I'm starting at 2, 0, 1, 2. I'm doing plus 7 as my change, so I'm heading to the right 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And where did we end up? We ended up at 9. So I'm going to put a box around my answer because 9 is the final value of the expression. And you probably knew that because 2 plus 7 is just adding positive integers, and we can usually do that in our heads. So go ahead and try Roman numerals 2, 3, and 4, just in these tables, 2, 3, and 4, on your own. So Roman numeral 2 is 2 minus 7, so that means we are reading a difference here. The starting value is 2, and the change is minus 7. So again, because we're taking away positive 7, we're taking away positive value, we are going to the left. Let's go ahead and diagram. Starting at 2, 7 to the left, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and I ended up at negative 5. Put a box around my answer. So what is 2 minus 7? 2 minus 7 is negative 5. All right, Roman numeral 3, -2 plus 7 means this is a sum. S for sum because I said the word plus. The starting value here is -2 this time because that's the first integer that I see in the expression. So we're going to start over here at -2 on the left side of 0. The change is plus 7, just like Roman numeral 1, so we know the change is going to be the same. If it's plus 7, I'm heading to the right 7. It doesn't matter where I start. So to the right 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And this time, I ended up at positive 5. So the value of this expression is positive 5. Last one, Roman numeral 4. -2 minus 7 means that I am reading a difference. The starting value here is -2 because that's the first number in the expression, and my change is -7. So again, the change is always the same. If it's -7, I'm heading to the left 7. Like, it doesn't change just because I'm starting at -2. A change of -7 is always heading to the left. I'm taking away positive 7. My answer is going to be more negative. So let's diagram. Start at -2. This time I am -7, so I'm going 7 to the left. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And it looks like this time I ended up at -9. I'm going to put a box around that. And the value of this expression is -9.